It's the LA Cinema Film Quiz. Believe it or not, it's week number 17. And it's the 17th of July. Usual time is Friday night, 8:30. Rolling camera and action. Good evening, everyone. Hope you've had a good week. I must admit, I'm feeling a little bit game, set and match this evening. And I'll explain why in just a minute. I've had a pretty productive day, to be honest. And I've literally just come from an hour's tennis. I had a lesson and spent an hour pelting the ball, and I came back and I'm absolutely shattered, to be honest. So what better way to start the quiz than with a cold Ashton Press cider. So I've got my pint glass, no giveaway advertising there, and my pint glass with a handle. Hope you've all got a drink this evening. Thanks for returning, and touch wood, you've all had a productive, pleasant week with some good weather. And thanks again for joining. We've got the live chat window as usual. Give us a shout out. Let me know if you've played before or if this is your first time. Introduce yourselves. My name's James, based here in Bristol in the southwest in the UK, in the village of Long Ashton, where we run a community cinema, which we hope to relaunch in September, touch wood. And for the moment, we've been running these film quizzes for the last 17 weeks during lockdown. I can't believe we've done so many. Got one participant, a good friend of mine who deserves a big shout out. It's Mr. Jay Gibbs from Bedminster Down here in the city of Bristol. He's a film buff, good man indeed. And yeah, in a minute, I'll just tell you a bit about the format for this evening. It's the usual 5 rounds comprising of 10 questions. Altogether, 50 questions. We'll reveal the answers at the end. It's all good fun, just to test your cinema knowledge and see how you get on. Hopefully, most importantly, you enjoy it. We'll be here for probably around about 90 minutes, 90 to 100 minutes. And also giving some recommendations of films watched during the 17th week of the quiz. And also asking you a couple of film-related questions and things towards the end. So good evening to Shirley Cormish, one of our regular players. Gail Rogers, same again. And Bikey Chick, who took part last week for the first time. Thanks for coming back. And a name I've not come across, Mr. Mike Warren. Hello from Keywell Road. Is that Long Ashton, Keywell Road? It is, isn't it? Okay, so let me reveal tonight's topics. As I said, this is the 17th edition of the LA Cinema Quiz. We've been running these on a Friday at 8:30. So here are the questions, the topics. These were all suggestions from yourselves. So give us a shout out and let me know if you suggested any of these rounds. Round number 1, one of the great young actors, maybe not so young anymore, but prolific. So round numero 1 is Leonardo DiCaprio. The films of Leonardo DiCaprio, all related questions. Round number 2, movies based on popular television shows. Round number 3, the mighty Canon films, as we turn the clock back mainly to the 1980s decade, and those B movies, mainly action films that were popular. I'm not sure if they've aged or dated so well, but Canon films, round number 3. Round number 4, movie one-liners. So I'm going to be reading out some dialogue, famous one-liners from films. You just need to tell me the movie. And the last round, another recommendation, quite an interesting one. Famous cars that have been used in mainly Hollywood films. Couple more people just to say hello. Kieran Ray, evening all. Kieran Nicholson, good evening to you. Thanks again for joining us. Hope you're well. And a familiar face, Lucy Hawkins. Hope you're well. Okay, so what have I been buying during the week? I always start off these quizzes with films I've been watching or things I've been buying. I'm somebody who constantly hoards things and buys films, as you can see from some of my shelves in the background. A couple of gaps where I've been trying to get rid of some. So here's my eBay purchases for the week. Okay, so during the lockdown, I said that probably one of my favorite films that I was blown away by is a Russian World War II film. And Jamie's going to shoot me down for another European title recommendation. It's the World War II film Come and See, which is an incredible war movie about the experiences of a young Russian soldier who witnesses events on the front line and what the Nazis have done to innocent victims. It's an incredible film. I already own this one, but I decided to get rid of my copy and go for the new Criterion release. They release fantastic Blu-ray and DVD packages of prolific films, world cinema releases. So I went for their release with added features. If you like your European world cinema, no better film than this one. I think this is one of the best World War II films I've ever seen. Incredible film, very realistic, hard-hitting, and it makes a film like Saving Private Ryan look very tame in comparison. One of the best. An American film now, a horror. I've been watching some of the Hellraiser films by the author Clive Barker, and I went for Nightbreed, which I've never seen. I think this came out around about 1991. I've heard good things. I've heard it's a pretty good, well-written horror film. So my second purchase on Arrow Video, another good distributor of Blu-rays and DVDs, was Nightbreed that's just come out. So I'm going to watch this one at some point. Lights off and a good horror. I don't know if any of you have seen Clive Barker's Nightbreed. If you have, let me know. My last purchase is a film that hasn't been released in the UK yet because of the coronavirus pandemic. It was pushed back. When it was screened at some of the festivals, it was said to be very shocking and disturbing. It's a film about the Second World War and the concentration camps. It's a very long film, nearly 3 hours. It's called The Painted Bird. A lot of things being said about this. It's based on a novel. Some people saying it's a very prolific World War II film, but very difficult to watch. As I said, it's not released. I managed to get hold of an Eastern European release of it on eBay. So this is another one I need to see. The Painted Bird. And then lastly, the first film I watched this week, I decided to watch a basketball film, a drama that dates back to the mid-1980s. I've been watching The Last Dance, the Netflix documentary on the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, and I fancy watching a classic from the 80s. It's the great Gene Hackman in a film called Hoosiers, but also known as Best Shot. Very good film. It's set in the 1950s. It's about a coach with a little bit of a checkered past who decides to take on a job and coach a college American basketball team and lead them to the championship season. Also investing with the help of an alcoholic basketball fanatic played by Dennis Hopper, who was nominated for an Oscar. And the love interest in the film is the very underrated female actress, Barbara Hershey. This was a good drama. I really like Gene Hackman, who's always good. He's always got that screen presence, a very fine actor. And overall, this was a good, uplifting film and a good recommendation, I think, during these difficult times during the lockdown. Okay, everyone, so that's my first recommendation. I'll be telling you about the second film I watched during the week, and we'll be asking you some film-related discussion for later. You all ready for tonight's quiz, everyone? We'll make a start, and we'll see how you get on. Shirley saying, not seen it for a while, but Nightbreed's a good film. Yeah, I've heard some good things, so fingers crossed, looking forward to that one. Let's go with round number one. So the first round for tonight. So round number one is 10 related questions on the actor Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the greats. He's really become a prolific actor in Hollywood. Won the Oscar. And finally, so we go with question number one, and I'll repeat these. The only thing I'll say is don't put the answers in the chat window because everyone's going to see them. I'll reveal the answers at the end. Fingers crossed. Good luck, everyone. Question one, round number one. So DiCaprio won his first Oscar in 2016 in the best performance by an actor in a leading role category. But name the film he appears in. So question one, the Academy Awards. Leonardo DiCaprio won his first Oscar in 2016 for his performance in a leading role. Name the film he appears in that he won his first Oscar. Been nominated numerous times, failing to win, despite some very fine performances in some very varied, strong, hard-hitting roles. But name the film that he won his first Oscar. Question one. Number two now, character name. DiCaprio plays a wealthy stockbroker, living the high life and falling from grace in Martin Scorsese's Wolf of Wall Street. But name the real-life character he plays. So this is a film based on the crazy story of a real-life, interesting character. The film in question, a very good one, is Martin Scorsese's Wolf of Wall Street. But name the character that DiCaprio plays, the character name. That's number two. Number three now, going back a few years to the 90s. DiCaprio plays Romeo in Baz Luhrmann's 1996 adaptation of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. But name the actress he co-stars alongside who plays his Juliet. It's number three. Round number one of the 17th week of the LA Cinema Film Quiz. So DiCaprio plays Romeo in Baz Luhrmann's 1996 adaptation of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. But name the actress he co-stars alongside who plays Juliet in the film. Number four now, again the 90s decade. Name the film featuring an early performance from DiCaprio. The film is set in the 1950s and is about the relationship between a teenager and his abusive stepfather. DiCaprio co-stars alongside Robert De Niro and Ellen Barkin. So a little synopsis for you. I want you to tell me the name of the film, Leonardo DiCaprio film. And the question is, name the film featuring an early performance from DiCaprio. The film is set in the 1950s and is about the relationship between a teenager and his abusive stepfather. DiCaprio co-stars alongside Robert De Niro and Ellen Barkin. Name the film. So shout out from Amanda Harris. She's in the Capitol in London with Mr. Harlequin as well. Good evening to you both. Hope you've had a good week. Thanks again for joining us. Okay, so number five, halfway through the round. DiCaprio's debut feature film was in which horror sequel? For a bonus point, name the year. So two answers to number five. So it's a two-part question. DiCaprio's debut feature film was in which horror sequel? And for the added bonus point, can you tell me the year? This is a film I've not seen since the days of the old VHS rentals, the videotape. And when I used to rent them from the shop, they were never wound back to the beginning. That used to so annoy me. Used to get all the dust on the tape heads. Those were the days. Okay, another two-part question. Two answers to this one. Number 6. Name DiCaprio's female co-star and the director for the 1950s set drama Revolutionary Road from 2008. Jay Gibbs saying, indeed. I even remember on the estate that I lived in, I remember a man used to come round in a van, and there'd be all these videos in the van. It was like seventh heaven. For me at the time, I shouldn't say this, it was like losing your virginity, walking into that van with all those videotapes. Should I have said that? So yeah, number 6, name DiCaprio's female co-star and the director for the 1950s drama Revolutionary Road from 2008. Moving on to 7. DiCaprio plays which legendary film director and aviator in Martin Scorsese's 2004 biopic, The Aviator? So I'll repeat that one again. Number 7. DiCaprio plays which legendary film director and aviator in Martin Scorsese's 2004 biopic, The Aviator? Remember seeing this one when it came out at the cinema. It was a long, long film. Very good one. Only saw it the once. Number 8. This one's a harder one. I'll give you a synopsis of a Leonardo DiCaprio film. It was released in 1996. Tell me the film. After 20 years caring for his father, a woman with cancer must reconnect with her sister and nephews she has never met. DiCaprio co-stars alongside Meryl Streep. Diane Keaton and Robert De Niro has a cameo role. But tell me the name of the film. It's probably the hardest one. Tricky question. Name the DiCaprio movie released in 1996. After 20 years caring for her father, a woman with cancer must reconnect with her sister and nephew she has never met. DiCaprio co-stars alongside Meryl Streep, Diane Keaton and Robert De Niro. But can you tell me the name of the film, please? 2 to go, and number 9 is another hard one. DiCaprio co-starred alongside Robert De Niro in a 16-minute Martin Scorsese short about competing for the lead role in Martin Scorsese's next film. What is the short film's title? So this is a little short film. You can find it on YouTube. It's quite humorous. Just a nice little novelty film. Quite short film. But DiCaprio co-starred alongside Robert De Niro in a 16-minute Martin Scorsese short about competing for the lead role in Martin Scorsese's next film. What is the short film's title? If anyone gets this one right, I'll send you a nice bottle of wine in the post. I think this one is a really hard one. So no Googling it. Tricky question. Number 10 now, last one of the round. Leonardo DiCaprio movies and an upcoming one. Number 10. DiCaprio is reunited with Martin Scorsese for a film about members of the Osage tribe in the United States who were murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s. Due for release next year in 2021. Name its title. A new release from Scorsese. De Niro also co-stars alongside Leonardo. A lot of anticipation about this one. So DiCaprio is reunited with Martin Scorsese for a film about members of the Osage tribe in the USA who were murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s. Due for release next year, but tell me the full name of the film. Looking forward to this one. Okay, that's all 10. We've got through round number 1. Any of you need any of these repeating at all? Did you miss any? Did you join us late this evening? If so, let me know which ones. or which one? And this was a recommendation. I don't know who from. They wanted the films of Leonardo DiCaprio. May have been Amanda. I might be wrong. Enjoy this round. How do you think you scored on your Leonardo DiCaprio movies? How did you fare? Anyone ultra confident? I'm going to have a little swig of my cider. What are you all drinking this evening? It's been a lovely day here down in the southwest. And after a bit of exercise, a bit of tennis, I really was craving a cold cider. So how did you all fare? Round number one, Leonardo DiCaprio, movies. Gail, 7, and she's got the old Prosecco out. Burst open the cork. 7 would be a good score. Anyone else want to reveal how they feel they got on with the first round tonight? Leonardo DiCaprio, been around a long time now. Started very young in the acting business in Hollywood. I like Leonardo, I've got to be honest. Good actor, very consistent performances, good CV, filmography. Kieran Nicholson, an 8, that would be a good score. Lucy, a 5 or 6. She's got the wine and pale ale. Don't mix the grape and the grain. 7, Amanda thinks. Shirley struggled a little bit with this one. There was a couple of difficult ones thrown in there. Should we move on to round number 2? Someone last week, I think it was Mr. Baseheart, who normally joins us on a Friday. He normally scores very well. Doesn't look like he's online tonight. He, I think, wanted movies based on television shows. So this is round number 2. See how you fare with this one. Bikey Chick finding it a difficult round. Score of maybe 4 or 5. Okay. Question number 1, round number 2. So it's movies based on TV shows. Number 1. One answer to this one. Mike Warren, lastly, a 5 or a 6 for round number 1. Okay, question 1. Name the popular Hollywood actor who played Face in the 2010 film version of The A-Team. So they made a movie. It was in 2010. But name the Hollywood actor who plays Face in the film version of The A-Team. I saw this at the cinema. I was not expecting big things, but I got to be honest, I quite enjoyed the film version. I thought it was all right. It was just quite good fun. Bit of escapism for 2 hours. Number 2, 2 answers to this one. Name the acting duo who played John Steed and Dr. Emma Peel in the 1998 film version of The Avengers. That is number 2. So an Avengers-related question. The film version. Name the acting duo who played John Steed and Dr. Emma Peel in the 1998 film version of The Avengers. So 2 answers to number 2, 2 points on offer. That was a film that got absolutely slated by the critics when it came out. A lot of expectation. Okay, number 3, we're doing some animation now. Name the 1980s animated TV series, which ran for 65 episodes and was made into a standalone film in 1988. It's about a Native American marshal and his friends keeping the peace on the frontier planet of New Texas. This is a cartoon I really loved as a kid. But the question is, name the 1980s animated TV series. It ran for 65 episodes and was made into a standalone film in 1988. It's about a Native American marshal and his friends keeping the peace on the frontier planet of New Texas. What's it called? Number 4 now, 2 points on offer for this one. 2 answers. Who played Hawkeye Pierce in the 1970 film version of MASH? For an added point, name the film's director. So a prolific series that ran, I think, longer than the actual Korean War itself. I used to love the TV program. Beautifully written, some great comedy, very tragic in parts. But who played Hawkeye Pierce in the 1970 film MASH? And for an added point, can you name the film's director? Number 5 now, halfway through the round. 2 answers to this one. Can you name the male stars who played the roles of Mitch Buchanan and Matt Brody in the movie version of Baywatch? That one's number 5. So name the male stars who play the roles of Mitch Buchanan and Matt Brody in the movie version of Baywatch. Another popular show from the 90s. I remember it being on Saturday about 5, 6 o'clock. Pamela Anderson. Seems a long time ago. Number 6. Director Michael Mann made a 2006 movie version of which iconic television series from the 1980s about the adventures of detectives Crockett and Tubbs? So round 2, number 6. Director Michael Mann made a 2006 movie version of which iconic TV series from the 1980s about the adventures of Crockett and Tubbs? Another show that went on for a long, long time in the 80s. Prolific. It's on DVD box set. It's a really good show. Number 7. 2 answers to this one. This is one for Jay Gibbs. He'll smile when I read this one. Name the Hollywood leads who played detectives Friday and Stebeck in 1987's Dragnet. So number 7 again. Name the Hollywood leads who played detectives Friday and Strebeck in 1987's Dragnet. I remember it was dum ba dum bum bum. Number 8. Bottle of wine for Mike. Red or white tonight. Number 8. Name the title of the He-Man and She-Ra animated feature film released in 1985. So before the live action version in 87, they released a feature film, an animated one. I saw it in the cinema a long, long time ago. I was only a little boy. But name the title of the He-Man, She-Ra animated feature film released in cinemas in 1985. 2 answers to number 9, so 2 points on offer. So it's movie, TV shows. Round 2, name the titles of the 2 Doctor Who films released in 1965 and 1966 and starring Peter Cushing as the Doctor. So 2 answers to this one. Number 9, name the titles of the 2 Doctor Who films released in 1965 and 1966 and starring Peter Cushing as the Doctor. One more left in this round. 10 questions. This one's the 10th, round number 2. Lastly, this is a little bit topical. Name the British actress who plays Safi in the absolutely fabulous television sitcom and the 2016 movie. She was in the news last week. Yeah, so this actress was in the news. I'll talk about that when I reveal the answer at the end. Name the British actress who plays Safi in the absolutely fabulous television sitcom and the 2016 movie. She was in the news last week. That's the final question. Have a little sip. So that was movies based on popular television shows. How did you all find this round? Most importantly, how do you think you got on with this one? 10 questions again. How did you all fare with this round number 2? Some tricky ones in there. A couple of, I'd say, relatively more easier ones if you're up on your TV shows, maybe from the 80s. This was a recommendation, I believe, from Mr. Baseheart, a regular player of the quiz. Gail, first one, confident with a 9-ish. 9 would be a good score. Very good score. Anyone else confident, or maybe not so confident? Before we go on to round number 3, in just a minute, I'll give you my second film watched during week 17 of the LA Cinema Film Quiz. And for me, the second film watched is a big thumbs down, but I'll reveal the film in just a mo. Lucy Hawkins, maybe a 5. Amanda Harris, a 13. Now that would be good. I think that would be an A+ on the chalkboard. Be a very good score. Okay, we'll see the scores come in just a mo, if there's anyone else. Okay, so the second film I watched this week, I watched a week or so ago the B-movie horror from the 80s, Hellraiser, written by Clive Barker. I mentioned Nightbreed earlier on. I bought this box set some time ago. They're really good, Arrow videos. They release some good Blu-ray and DVD releases, mainly cult films, specializing in kind of horror B-movies. I decided to go for Hellraiser 2, which is called Hellbound, the second as part of the horror franchise. Kirsty, the same character from the first film, is brought to an institution after the death of her family, where the occult obsessive head resurrects Julia, again from the first film, and unleashes the Cenobites and Pinhead once again in this second horror installment. I'd never seen the first one, and I quite enjoyed it. I thought the visual effects, some of the film lighting, I thought was impressive. The second film, as part of this set, I was warned by Mr. Baseheart that it was a very disappointing sequel. I noticed there were some good reviews on IMDb. I must admit, I sat through this bitterly disappointed. I thought it was a bad sequel. I thought the plot had loads of holes in, not interesting at all. And I must admit, I struggled sitting through 90 minutes. I thought it was a really bad sequel. I'd not seen the third one, which is Hell on Earth, which I think came out in the early 90s. I watched this one, and I think the box set, as nice as it is, I think this will be one I'll probably be selling on eBay. Like the first one, but bitterly disappointed with the sequel. I don't know if anyone's a big Hellraiser horror fan. Let me know. It was the second film I watched during the week. And yeah, as I said, a bit of a thumbs down for me for this one. A little bit disappointed, but hey ho. Okay, so Bikey Chick, a 7-ish for round number 2. We'll move on to round number 3 now. 10 questions again. And to reveal this round, I'm going to do this. See if you can guess what this is. That sound ring any bells? It might bring back some memories if you're big cinema buffs. It's Cannon Films, round number 3. Production house really became synonymous for 80s action B movies. They even ran their own cinema chains back in the 80s. So we've got 10 questions on Cannon Films. Love that music, I've got to be honest. And Always remember before the film that logo coming on. I remember sitting in their cinemas. They had two here in Bristol at one time. One down by the old ice rink, which is now a live music venue, and the other one in a nice cinema in the centre of Bristol called the White Ladies. It's now run by everyman who own a lot of cinemas in London, I believe, but not the same as the early days. It's beautiful cinema. Round number 3 then, Canon Films. 2 answers for number 1. Tricky question, hardest one maybe the night. Name the 2 Israeli cousins who purchased Canon Films in 1979. I think one of them did make some films as a director. So number 1, name the 2 Israeli cousins who purchased Canon Films in 1979. Number 2, a little bit easier. It's a name the year one. And a Superman film. So Canon released the 4th installment of the Christopher Reeve Superman franchise under the working title The Quest for Peace. It was released in the summer of which year? Now, I remember going to see this one as a kid, such a long time ago. Got slated this film when it came out. It's probably the weakest. As Christopher Reeve as Superman and Clark Kent. But Canon released the 4th installment of the Christopher Reeve Superman franchise under the working title The Quest for Peace. It was released in the summer of which year? What year was it released? Number 3, Canon Films, round number 3. Canon financed a film version of King Lear, which featured performances from Woody Allen, Julie Delpy, Burgess Meredith, and Peter Sellers. But name the iconic French director who directed the film. So number 3, Canon financed a film version of King Lear, which featured performances from Woody Allen, Julie Delpy, Burgess Meredith, and Peter Sellers. But tell me the name of the iconic French director who made the film. We move on now to number 4. Name the 1989 Canon movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme about a martial artist who hunts a killer in a plague-infested urban dump of the future. 4 again, name the 1989 Canon movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme about a martial artist who hunts a killer in a plague-infested urban dump of the future. Number 5 now, halfway through the round. We're on round number 3. It's Canon Films. Okay, so name the Tobe Hopper Canon project from 1985. It's a horror sci-fi about a race of space vampires who arrive in London and infect the populace, beginning an apocalyptic descent into chaos. So we turn the clock back to the 1980s, the year's 1985, but name the Tobe Hopper film from that year. The synopsis: it's a horror sci-fi about a race of space vampires who arrive in London and infect the populace, beginning an apocalyptic descent into chaos. Number 6, another kind of tricky question, documentary now. Name the full title of the 2014 documentary chronicling the Canon Film Company. So it was a documentary made about the Canon film years. It was released in 2014. It's quite a good fun docu, but tell me the name of it. Its full working title. It's a hard one. Number 7. Name the director of the Canon-financed fantasy film The Company of Wolves from 1984. So this is a film I've never seen. Put a bid in for it for a Blu-ray on eBay. Never seen this film. But name the director of the Cannon-financed fantasy film The Company of Wolves from 1984. I'll give you a little clue. British director. Good director. Also a novelist. Don't know when his last film was. Okay, number 8. I'm going to read a synopsis of the film made under the Cannon umbrella. Just tell me the film. So name the 1985 Cannon film with Jon Voight, Eric Roberts and Rebecca De Mornay. It's about 2 escaped convicts and a female rail worker who find themselves trapped on a train with no brakes and nobody driving. So we film another film of the 80s. The year was 1985, but name the Cannon film. It stars Jon Voight, Eric Roberts and Rebecca De Mornay. It's about two escaped convicts and a female railway worker who find themselves trapped on a train with no brakes and nobody driving. Whatever happened to Rebecca De Mornay? She did that film Hand That Rocks the Cradle, didn't she? Not seen her for a long time. Maybe working on a lot of TV shows, I don't know. Number 9, name the Cannon comedy musical from 1984. It's about a struggling young jazz dancer who meets up with 2 breakdancers. Tell me the movie. Number 9 again, name the Cannon comedy musical from 1984. It's about a struggling young jazz dancer who meets up with 2 breakdancers. And lastly, probably an easier one to cap off the round. Name the 1980s action star who plays a tough street cop in the 1986 action movie Cobra. So a mate of mine loves this film, Cobra. He bangs on about it. I've never seen it. I imagine it's good fun. But name the 1980s action star plays a tough street cop in the 1986 action movie Cobra. Okay, so that's all 10. Let me know if you need any repeating for this round. So we're pretty much more than halfway through tonight's quiz. 2 more rounds to go. Rounds number 4 and rounds number 5. I think this is probably the hardest round of the night on Cannon. Any Cannon film fans, or how did you fare with this one? Let me know if you need any repeating. Difficult round, that one. Very tricky round. As you do that, I'll play back that logo again. I love that sound. It brings back a lot of memories of the Cannon films Ident. Okay, so we'll move on to round number 4. How did you fare with Cannon films? Probably the hardest round of the night, in fairness, this one. Some hard questions in there. You all don't seem so confident at the moment. No scores confessed as yet. Okay, so round number 4 is going to be movie one-liners. So I'm going to read you a line of dialogue from a film. You just need to tell me the name of the film. Lucy Hawkins saying this is a tough round. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Tricky round, this one. Maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, it was a hard round. Toughest one of the night. Especially if you're not particularly up on Cannon. Okay, Bikey Chick, maybe a 4. Mike Warren saying what? Okay, so we'll go with the one-liners. Kieran Nicholson, a 4. Yeah, it was a hard round, this one. Okay, let's go with number 4. So these are one-liners from films. I can give you some clues if that helps. So I'm looking for a 1960s film, and the line is, "I'm walking here." This is an iconic 1960s film, won numerous Oscars. I think it got the Best Picture, and the line is, "I'm walking here." Question 1, I'm walking here. The line of dialogue for number 2, such a famous line, "Show me the money." Show me the money, number 2. Real famous line from the film, "Show me the money." What film? Number 3, another iconic line, "Go ahead, make my day." So line number 3, "Go ahead and make my day." Another famous line from a film, I mentioned this as a recommendation weeks back, a good uplifting film, particularly during these difficult times. The line is, "If you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come." Number 5, a bit of bad language here. "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," is number 5. Probably the easiest one tonight. So number 5, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," is number 5. One-liners, number 6. This is a famous film from the late 80s. Everybody seems to love this film. "I'll have what she's having," is the line of dialogue. "I'll have what she's having." Number 7, slightly trickier. The clue is this is a film from the late 1920s, but it's quite a prolific, life-changing film in some ways, in terms of cinema, for a certain reason. And the line is, "You ain't heard nothing yet. You ain't heard nothing yet." Number 8 now, a film from the 90s decade now. And the line is, "They call it a Royale with cheese." They call it a Royale with cheese. Number 9 next. 2 left in the round, the one-liners. Number 9, "Say hello to my little friend." This is a film from the early 80s. And the line of dialogue is, "Say hello to my little friend." And lastly, probably the hardest one of the round, the line of dialogue is this: "I told you not to go in that house." So this is a more recent release, 2017. And the line of dialogue is, "I told you not to go in that house." That was quick. That's all 10. The one-liners. How did you all fare with this one? Hopefully this one was a little bit more accessible than round number 3 on Canon. Are you confident, or do you need any repeating on this round? So it's one-liners, lines of dialogue from movies. Kieran saying a 4 for this one. So 4. If you need any repeating, shouting out, just let me know. Anyone else? How did you fare with your movie one-liners? And in a minute, we'll move on to the last round. somebody requested last week for there to be a round on famous cars in films. Not sure who that was. If they're playing tonight, let me know. So you've got 10 questions on famous cars from films. But before we move on to round 5, anyone else confident or maybe not so confident? Amanda saying a 9, possibly. It'd be a really good score for your one-liners. Bikey Chick, our best round so far, hopefully a 9. Yeah, fingers crossed. Shirley Cormish, not so confident, saying a 4. Gail Rogers an 8, that would be an excellent score. And are you ready for the last 10 questions? The final 10. Movie cars. Okay, so all I want you to do is tell me the name of the film it features in. I'll give you the year as well. So it's famous movie cars. Question 1, I want you to tell me the film that features the 1964 Aston Martin DB5. Won't have a clue. So tell me the film that features the 1964 Aston Martin DB5. And imagine you get this one because this franchise is very well known for its cars. Some stunning cars. Some beauties. Number 2, tell me the film that features the Adams Probe 16 from a 1970s cult movie, referred to in the film as the Durango 95. So this is a car that's featured in one of my favourite movies of all time. It's the car manufactured was called the Adams Probe 16. I think they only made a couple from a 1970s cult movie, referred to in the film as the Durango 95. Mike saying, bloody hell, James. I know, to be honest, I only put these questions because somebody did ask me to put around famous movie cars. I'd probably say this week, this is probably one of the harder quizzes. The last couple of weeks, we've had some really high scores. A couple of difficult rounds tonight. Maybe not so hard next week. I'll ask you for your recommendations for topics at the end. Okay, so the clue for number 2, the film was released in 1971. Controversial film. Number 3, the car is the 1976 Lotus E-Spirit Series 1 from a Roger Moore Bond movie. So number 3, the car's from a 1976 Roger Moore Bond movie, and it's the Lotus E-Spirit Series 1. Name the Bond film. Number 4 now. Can you name the car featured in which film? It's called the Pontiac Trans Am from a 1977 action comedy with Burt Reynolds is the clue. So the car's called the Pontiac Trans Am. It's an action comedy. It was released in 1977 with Burt Reynolds in the lead role. Tell me the film. Number 5, this is a classic film. They even did an advertisement featuring the main actor. It's the 1968 Mustang GT 390 from a 1968 crime thriller. Here's the clue, with a classic car chase. So this is one of the most famous car chases in history. And it's not The Italian Job. It's a Hollywood film with iconic masculine male actor. Featured in an advert a couple of years back. It was the 1968 Mustang GT 390 from a 1968 crime thriller with a famous car chase. What was the film? Couple more left. We finish off the quiz. Number 6. Tell me the film that features the 1973 XB GT Ford Falcon. It's from a famous sci-fi trilogy with an actor that got himself into a lot of trouble for things he said in the media. That is the clue. But the car was the 1973 XB GT Ford Falcon from a famous science fiction trilogy. What was the trilogy? Number 7. The vehicle is the Ford Explorer XLT UN46. The clue is from a box office smash, a summer release from 1993. So number 7 again, it's the Ford Explorer. The model is the ULT UN46. And it's from a massive film, a summer blockbuster from 1993. What was the film? That should be the big clue. Okay, number 8. It's the Mirthmobile 1976 AMC Pacer from 2 comedy movies in the 90s. So I think this was a TV series as well. They were quite popular films. It's 2 movies, a first and a sequel. But the car's called the Mirthmobile 1976 AMC Pacer from 2 comedy movies released in the early 1990s. What were they? 2 more to go. Number 9. It's the 1985 Modana GT Spider California. It's from a beloved 1986 comedy movie. So this is a 1986 film. People love it. This goes down well. Bit of a cult film. And it's the 1985 Modana GT Spider California from a beloved 1986 comedy movie. Do you want me to give you a clue? Matthew Broderick was the lead actor. That should give it away. And number 10, it is simply the Giga Horse. The Giga Horse is a vehicle featured in which recent movie? So question 50, the last one of the night. Round 5, hard round. Somebody recommended and asked for this one. It's cars or vehicles featured in films. And the last one is the Giga Horse. But what film does that vehicle feature in? That's the final one of the night. Anyone need any repeating from this last round? Anyone need any repeating? Gail's gone in with a 7, confident. I think this was a really hard round. I'd probably get about 2 of these right. I think the last one I'd probably get right. But overall, I think I'd struggle. So Gail, confident on her vehicles. She obviously likes her cars. She likes her car chases. A 7 would be an excellent score. Anybody else? How did you fare with this one? Mike's confident. Had a couple of difficult rounds, but he's saying a 9. A 9 would be an excellent score. Kieran Nicholson, 7. And Bikey Chick asking for number 2 to be repeated. Yeah, sure. No problem. Can even add a clue in. I'm sure number 2 was one of my favourite films. Maybe an 8. Amanda? Yeah, so number 2 was the Adams Probe 16 from a 1970s cult movie. And it's referred to in the film as the Durango 95. It's seen at the beginning of the film. Very controversial film, 1971 release. one of my favourite cult movies, and it features before probably the most controversial and disturbing scene in the film. Shirley saying maybe a 6. 6 would be a good score. So yeah, 2 again was the Adams Probe 16 from a 1971 cult movie, but it's referred to in the film as the Durango 95. The actor says something along the lines of, we were driving in the Durango 95. It's a stunning car, very futuristic. Okay, so I'll reveal the answers tonight. I think tonight was a little bit more of a trickier quiz. Some difficult ones, no doubt, particularly Canon films. I thought that last round was tricky. But these were all suggestions made by yourself. So I've literally just put in what people have asked for suggested rounds. Before we do the answers, I was going to ask you a couple of quick things, just to have a little bit of a discussion before the end of the night. Okay, so I work for a cinema chain. I've mentioned this. We reopened the cinema Showcases, the cinema chain I work for. It reopened last Friday on July the 10th. No new film releases, so they've been showing older films, some classics, old titles. They're showing films like Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Lawrence of Arabia. So my question to you is, have you been back to the cinemas, any of you, since their return? If you have, what has your experience been like, good or bad? Have they put in good measures in place? Do you think they need those measures? And my secondary question was, how do you feel for the future state of cinema? So much has changed with the cinema experience, with film, in the course of the last maybe 5 years. More streaming on demand services available. You can pretty much see a film the day it's released in your home, streamed on a television set. Whilst back in the day, you have to wait 6 months from release, from cinema to VHS. It felt like waiting for eternity, especially if you were underage. Now there's it went from sort of 6 months to 3 months to DVD release. Now it's pretty much simultaneous. Do you think that cinemas will stay? Do you think it will be more of a limited experience? There'll be fewer cinemas. So my question is, have you been back to cinemas since they've reopened their doors for business? What has your experience been like? Positive, negative? And what is your opinion on the future state of cinema? I'm a big cinema buff. For me, I've always been a little bit old-fashioned and believe that all films should be presented in the right way, that they should be seen on a big screen with good sound. We want to see those great images. We want a cinema experience. But I do think film has changed so much in all ways. Production, you can film films now on a mobile telephone. You can pretty much get as good, if not a better quality of picture on a home, decent television set that you can on an expensive cinema projector. For me, I think cinemas have not been well in line with the changes that have happened with home entertainment. I think they've kind of sat back a little bit, and I think they could have offered maybe a more affordable experience. I think cinema has become far too expensive. It was initially set up to cater for people not necessarily on high wages. It was always an affordable night out. Don't think it is so much. It's become maybe a little bit elitist. Let's see your comments. Not many cinemas open in London. Okay, that kind of makes sense because obviously the population is such a massive city, 10 million. Maybe they don't want to take so many risks as in some of the smaller cities in UK. Only the drive-ins. I'd love to go to a drive-in. I've never done that. Shirley saying none open, but nothing beats the experience of seeing films projected on the silver screen. Amanda saying need to make it a bit more affordable, more offers. I think it's got too expensive. I'd imagine in London you're looking at probably nearly £20 a ticket, I would have thought, to see a film. It has got expensive. My other question, we had a round on Leonardo DiCaprio films. He's got a prolific CV. What are your favourite Leonardo DiCaprio films? If you had to say your favourites that might be in a special place for you, or ones you'd maybe take on a desert island, what are your favourite Leonardo DiCaprio films and why? He certainly made some good ones, especially with Scorsese. Really good actor. So let's see what you're saying. Kieran Nicholson saying Catch Me If You Can, the Spielberg film. That's with Tom Hanks as well, isn't it? Catch Me If You Can. Which ones do I like? I like Wolf for Wall Street. Scorsese, obviously. I enjoyed Shutter Island. I thought that was a good one. Yeah, Biker Chick saying Shutter Island. Clever twist at the end, I thought. And I thought Mark Ruffalo's always good. Kieran Ray saying Gangs of New York. I'm ashamed to say I've never seen Gangs of New York. And The Departed, which won the best film. Lucy saying, yeah, about the mole, the detective film with Jack Nicholson as the bad mafia boss. Kieran Nicholson putting a thumbs up to Shutter Island. Yeah, that was a good one. Ben Kingsley also in that one. Amanda Harris saying The Departed and Tarantino's Django Unchained. I like some of the early ones as well. What's Eating Gilbert Grape, I thought was good. This Boy's Life, which is the answer to one of the questions tonight. A good early performance from Leo. The Revenant was pretty good. And then my final thing to you is, as well as film, I'm a big music fan. Mike saying he's confident that he got a 9 for the last round. I like my music as well as my films, and I've been reminiscing a lot about some of my favourite live performances from shows and gigs I've been to over the years. Some of those smaller, intimate gigs and some of the bigger ones. So, what are your favourite performers that you've seen and been lucky to see on stage? Who are your favourites? The Murphmobile, yeah. I'll give you the answer to that one in just a minute. Mike? Okay, so performers I've seen. Been thinking a lot about some of the performers I've seen on stage that I've been lucky to see. I was lucky to see the Stones. I've got my hoodie on tonight with those lips. I saw them in Cardiff last year, enjoyed that. Been fortunate enough to see people like Paul McCartney, Ray Davies, some of the early rock and roll performers when I was a kid. Chuck Berry made a big impression at a young age, such an icon. But I think the best one I've ever seen on stage was probably Prince. I was lucky to see. He put on a great show in Birmingham just before he died. Great showman. Springsteen was fortunate enough to see, although he goes on for about sort of 4 hours. Billy Joel, yeah. Amanda saying the Eagles, they're brilliant musicians. ELO I've seen. Jeff Lynne. I love, what's that one they did? Telephone Line? Yeah, I love that one. Stevie Wonder, prolific. Shirley saying Jack Severetti, the boss man Springsteen. Yeah, he's always good. Bryan Adams, yeah, he's somebody I never really liked as a youngster, but he's a prolific showman and he's written some good pop songs. He's a talent. Radiohead, 1997 at Glastonbury. There's a couple of lesser known artists that I love seeing on stage. Check them out. I love a guy called Josh Rouse. He's an American singer-songwriter. He made a beautiful album called Nashville in 1972. I've seen him 4 or 5 times. He's a storyteller. And another guy I like, he's a country music guy. He's based in the UK. He's from up north. Robert Vincent, he's great. Another good songwriter, storyteller. Bikey chick saying clutch every time. Another one I was fortunate enough to see just before he died in Hyde Park was Tom Petty. I'm a massive Tom Petty fan, and the Heartbreakers. They were good. But for me, I think the number one was Prince. I thought Prince was brilliant. Okay, you all ready for the answers, guys and girls? We'll go through the answers, 5 rounds, and we'll see how you got on. And Mr. Harlequin, Pink, Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire, Frankie Valli, a bit of the old harmonies there. 4 Seasons, Amanda Harris, Prince. Yeah, I just had a smile on my face the whole night. Kiefer Sutherland, I've actually seen him 3 times, and he's good in a country band. They're good musicians, his band. He writes good songs. A lot of them are about heavy drinking, his experiences in life, his country influence, and Johnny Cash. And I think he's been a bit of a ladies' man in his time. And he looks good for his age. He's got no weight on him. He's good on stage. Jethro Tull. The Who I've seen a couple of times. I met Roger Daltrey, actually. He was in a miserable mood, but he did sign an autograph. And I made a comment, and he had a little smile on his face. I realised he was a big Elvis fan, so I made a bit of an Elvis joke, saying Elvis was number one, always will be the king, and he did have a smile on his face. Lloyd Cole was another one I saw a few months back, and I enjoyed him. And another guy I love, if you like guitarist, Tommy Emmanuel. Incredible acoustic player, he's worth checking out. Stunning player. Uriah Heep, that's going back. Jethro Tull, again, going back. That prog rock, with like bands like Yes. Okay, let's go through the answers then. Some interesting experiences of music. Okay, here we go. So, the Leonardo DiCaprio questions. The Oscar he won was for the film The Revenant. So, The Revenant, the 2016 film that won in the Oscar for lead actor. The character he plays in Wolf of Wall Street, the real-life wealthy stockbroker, is Jordan Belfont. So, Jordan Belfont is answer number 2. Number 3, who plays Juliet in Romeo and Juliet? Baz Luhrmann's 1996 film adaptation. It was Claire Danes. So Claire Danes is answer number 3. Number 4, I gave you a synopsis, of a DiCaprio early film when he was a young boy, as a wayward young teenager in a relationship with an abusive stepfather. The film was This Boy's Life. Good film, This Boy's Life, which co-starred Robert De Niro and Ellen Barkin. Number 5 was the debut film, a horror film, sequel. It was Critters 3, and the year was 1991, so 2 points. Critters 3, 1991. DiCaprio's co-star was Kate Winslet in Revolutionary Road, and the director was her ex-husband, Sam Mendes. So it was Kate Winslet and Sam Mendes, number 6. Number 7, it was Howard Hughes, the real-life character DiCaprio was Oscar nominated for the film The Aviator, directed by Martin Scorsese. So Howard Hughes. Number 8, the film. This was a tricky one. The film's called Marvin's Room. DiCaprio co-stars alongside Meryl Streep, Diane Keaton, and De Niro has a small cameo as a actor. It was Marvin's Room from 1996. Number 9, one of the hardest questions of the night. The short film with De Niro, made by Martin Scorsese, is called The Audition. Did anyone get this one? The Audition. And lastly, number 10, the upcoming film, which sees DiCaprio collaborate again with Scorsese, and De Niro's back after The Irishman. It is called Killers of the Flower Moon. So Killers of the Flower Moon, which will be released next year in 2021, touch wood. Looking forward to that one. So that was the 10 questions, a couple of added bonus points. Tot up your scores. How did you do? And did anyone get that Audition one or Marvin's Room? They were probably the two trickiest ones. So The Audition was the short film about the two actors, rivals, auditioning for a Scorsese next movie. It's a short film. You'll find it on YouTube. It's quite good fun. How did you do with Leonardo DiCaprio films? Scores are in. Kieran Nicholson, a 9. Good score. Well done. Knows his Leo films. Amanda Harris, a good score of 7. Yeah, Mike, are you based in Bristol at all? That is the hardest one. I take it you've seen the film. I think you said you were based in the same village as me, weren't you? So Mike gets the bottle of Plonk. I'll gladly share that with you if you're in Bristol. Mike, 6 out of 11. Bikey Chick, not bad, a 5. Lucy Hawkins, a 6. Gail Rogers, a good score, 8 here. Good score. So some good scores there. And well done to Mike, The Audition, probably the hardest one. Did anyone get Marvin's Room? Remember seeing that one when it came out. Mike's in Long Ashton. Yeah, drop me a line on here, or yeah, I'll gladly I'll put my Jack M on our team. Okay, I'm meeting Jack actually, waffling a bit on Tuesday, Mike. So you're more than welcome to join us, and I quite happily buy you a bottle of wine. Okay. Round number 2. You ready, guys and girls? It was movies based on popular television shows. So number 1, who played Face in the A-Team movie? It was Bradley Cooper. So Bradley Cooper is the answer to number 1. 2 answers to number 2. Who played John Steed and Dr. Emma Peel in The Avengers, the 1998 film version? It was Rolf Fiennes and Uma Thurman. So Rolf Fiennes, the British actor, and Uma Thurman. Number 3. So it's a 1980s animated TV series, and it was made into a standalone film in 1988. My kids have been watching this. You can watch them for free on YouTube, and they're quite good. It was Brave Star. Did anyone get that one? Imagine my mate Jay did. He loves his 80s animated. So it's Brave Star. Released a load of action figures as well. It was Donald Sutherland and the director Robert Altman. So Donald Sutherland played Hawkeye Pierce, and Robert Altman directed the 1970 MASH film. The television series actually came after. The only actor to be in the film was Radar. Can't think of the actor's name. Radar O'Reilly. Number 5, it was Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron that played Mitch Buchanan and Matt Brody in the film version of Baywatch. I've not seen this one, thankfully. Maybe it's quite good fun. I don't know. Bikey Chick saying she got the Brave Star one. Is it eyes of a wolf, ears of a hawk, strength of the bear, speed of the puma? The puma. So Dwayne Johnson, Zac Efron, answer to 5. Number 6, it was Michael Mann made a film version of Miami Vice about detectives Crockett and Tubbs. It was Miami Vice. Imagine most of you got that one. Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd played detectives Friday and Streebek in the 1987 movie version of Dragnet. So it's Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd. The film version of Masters of the Universe, the animated one, was called The Secret of the Sword. Did anyone get this one right? They did an animated film version before the canon film version, the live action one in 87. The 2 Doctor Who films from 65 and 66, with Peter Cushing as the Doctor, a Doctor Who and the Daleks, and the Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD. The Brave Star Trainers. God, that sounds great. So Doctor Who and the Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD are the 2 films. And the actress who plays Safi in Absolutely Fabulous, she was in the news because she's not going to be in the Chicken Run sequel. So say because of her age, they want a change of actress. She was moaning about it on social media. It was Julia Sawalha, who was in Press Gang back in the day. Julia Sawalha. Okay, so that's all 10. How did everyone get on with this round? So it's movies based on TV shows. What are your scores like for this one? How did you all fare? It's quite a good round. I quite enjoyed this one. Good suggestion. How did you get on? The scores, are they in? In a minute, we'll go on to the 3rd round, which was probably the hardest round of the night. You didn't seem to enjoy canon films. We'll do them in just a minute, the answers. Lucy Hawkins, not so good with a 4. Mike did well. Mike Warren got an 8, a good score. Amanda, a very good score of 11. Well done. Anyone else? Well done. Anyone else? Bikey Chick, another good score, just 1 less than Amanda, a 10. Very good. Okay, so canon films. Gail Rogers said a 9. Yeah, Julia Sawalha saying cross that she's not being rehired. Kira Nicholson an 8. She's a good actress as well, Julia Sawalha. I don't quite understand why they're not using her, to be honest. Just seems a little bit of an odd decision to me. She's got a nice voice. She's good. She's good at what she does. She's got presence. I know she's just doing a voice for the animation, but okay. So canon films, the hardest one of the night. The 2 Israeli cousins were Menahem Golan and Yoram Globus. They were known as Golan and Globus, who ran canon films from 1979. 2 characters. 1987 was the year that The Quest for Peace, Superman with Christopher Reeve, was released. It bombed at the box office and it was a critical mess. 1987. The French director Jean-Luc Godard made a film version of King Lear, which was released by Canon. So Jean-Luc Godard. Cyborg was the Jean-Claude Van Damme martial art film from 1989. It was Cyborg. Life Force was the 1985 Tobe Hopper film. I gave you a little Description of its life force. Number 6, did anyone get this one? The documentary was called Electric Boogaloo, the wild untold story of Cannon films. It's a good fun docu if you can get hold of it on DVD or streaming. Just good fun. It's a good laugh. Just remembering those films. A lot of them were bad, to be honest, but good fun. Neil Jordan was the British filmmaker, or shall I say Irish filmmaker? Or is he British? I'm not sure. I think he's Irish. Who did The Company of Wolves from 1984? So Neil Jordan. Number 8, the film I described with Jon Voight, Eric Roberts, and Rebecca De Mornay. Some say it's one of Cannon's best films, maybe the best. It's called Runaway Train. So Runaway Train. Number 9, the musical film from '84 was Breakin'. They did a sequel, but it's Breakin'. And probably the easiest one of the round, the action star from the 1986 film Cobra was Sylvester Stallone. So Sylvester Stallone is the last one. Top up your scores. Let me know how you did. I think this was a tricky round for most of you. I'm just having a look at the end for some more suggestions that you've made for topics for films that I'll read back at the end. A storming one from Gail. I don't think we'll reintroduce films from the Cannon rostrum. Let's see how everyone else did. One of the hardest rounds I think we did, particularly if you're not into these films. Most of them were sort of 80s action films. Mike, a 2 out of 10. A lot of filmy buffs do like some Cannon because they were unique, but overall quality-wise, they weren't great films. Lucy a 3, Kieran Nicholson a 4, Bikey Chick a really good score, 7. That might make you the winner tonight. A really good round. Let's move on to number 4. It was the one-liners. 10 questions on famous one-lines from films. I just asked you to tell me the movie title. What film did the line feature in? As Amanda says, she got a 6 for this one. Would have been a 7 if she'd have listened to Mr. Harlequin. Shirley Cormish, a 3 for that one. Okay, so the line I'm walking here was from the film Midnight Cowboy from 1969. It was spoken by Dustin Hoffman. Midnight Cowboy. Number 2, I bet you all got this one. Show Me the Money. It was Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire, 1996. Cuba Gooding Jr. won the Oscar. Show Me the Money from Jerry Maguire. Go Ahead, Make My Day. I suspect you all know it was Clint Eastwood, but it was actually the Dirty Harry film Sudden Impact from 1983. So Sudden Impact. Number 4, I bet most of you got this. If You Build It, He Will Come. The film was released in 1989. It was Kevin Costner. It was Field of Dreams. Good uplifting film about baseball. Field of Dreams. Excuse my language, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. That was Bruce Willis, Die Hard, 1988. So Die Hard, popular film franchise, action. First one always the best. When Harry Met Sally was the line, I'll have what she's having. It's Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. Rob Reiner, director. When Harry Met Sally. Tricky one, number 7. You Ain't Heard Nothing Yet. It was from The Jazz Singer. Old Jolson, 1927. I think that was the first film, sound film. First film was sound. They call it a Royale with cheese. I bet you all got this one. It was Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. So Pulp Fiction number 8. Scarface from 1983, Al Pacino. Say Hello to My Little Friend. So Scarface, the remake. Number 10, a more recent film. I suppose you categorise this as kind of a horror drama. It was Get Out. I Told You Not to Go in That House. It was Jordan Peele's Get Out, released in 2017, the most recent edition of those films for the one-liners round. How did you get on with your one-liners? We got the scores in. I imagine you probably all did a bit better with this one. A bit more of an accessible round than your canon. We got any scores in as yet? As we move into the last round, the last 10 questions, round number 5, which was the famous vehicles or cars from movies. Some good scores. So Gail is an 8. Kieran, a good score, an 8. Lucy, not a bad score, 2 behind with a 6. Mike, also an 8, a good score. And Amanda, we got 8, but it could have been a 9. You're not listening again. So an 8, another good score. A really good score from Bikey Chick. Little dance, get grooving and moving with a 10, really good score. I think you're going to top maybe the leaderboard tonight, Bikey Chick. A good round with your canon films. Let's see how you fared with the final round with film cars. I don't know who suggested this round. So the 1964 Aston Martin DB5. It was the Bond film Goldfinger, 1964. So answer 1, Goldfinger. Number 2, the Adams Probe 16. It's referred to as the Durango 95. It's in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. The scene where they steal the car and they go out driving it before the controversial rape scene. So it's Clockwork Orange from 1971, one of my favourite films. Number 3, it was The Spy Who Loved Me, the Roger Moore Bond film. It was the Lotus E-Spirit, Series 1, The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977. Smokey and the Bandit was the car, the Pontiac Trans Am. So yeah, Bikey Chick recommending this round. Number 5, it was Bullet, the Mustang 1968 GT390, and that famous classic car chase. Remember they did a car advert where they superimposed Steve McQueen's face. I can't remember what car it was, going back a few years. Mad Max was the 1973 GT Ford Falcon from the famous trilogy, with Mel Gibson in the title role, so Mad Max. The Ford Explorer was from Jurassic Park, the summer blockbuster Spielberg's film from 1993. Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2, released in 92 and the year after 93. It was the Murphmobile 1976 AMC Pacer. So Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2. Gave you a big clue, Matthew Broderick. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the 1986 film. But the car was the Modena GT Spider California. And lastly, the Giga Horse. That was from Mad Max Fury Road, 5 years ago in 2015. So Mad Max Fury Road, 50th answer to the last question of the night, the penultimate round. So it's the final round. What were your scores for this one? Mike's going first, a good score of 9. Excellent. How did Bikey Chick get on? She recommended this round from last week. Be interested to see how you got on. So Mike's score very good, a 9. Also got that tricky audition question from round number 1 earlier on. Lucy Hawkins a 4. Kieran Nicholson a 6. Any more scores? Amanda Harris, a good score, 9. Really good. And Gail, a 10. Good score. If the Wayne's World count as 2 points. Yeah, so 2 points, point each for Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2. Bikey Chick, an excellent score again, a 9. Doing well tonight. And if you tot up your scores, you total them from rounds 1 to 5. Full house of 50 questions. How did you do for the 17th edition of the quiz? We know one thing, that the winner tonight won't be Mr. Baseheart. I don't know where he is this evening. He's had some good scores in the last few weeks. Mike Warren, a 42. Struggle on the Canon films. Amanda Harris said she got a 10 then on the Wayne's World, an extra point. Could help with the finale, the final total. Bikey Chick also a 10. So we've had one score from Mike. He's in Bristol, same village as me, Long Ashton. Kieran, 38. Gail Rogers, 36. Maybe make it a little bit more easier next week. Yeah, it was a tricky one this week. So we've had 42 from Mike, 38 from Kieran. Bikey Chick, a 42. I thought you might have been the standalone winner this week, but we've got a tie. We got another tie, a three-way tie. So 42, 42, and 42, really high scores. The lockdown is starting to ease slightly, as I'm told I've got an unstable connection. I don't know why, because I'm sat right next to the router. Gremlins in the building, maybe. Do you want us to continue with the weekly quiz? Lockdown starting to ease, but I was going to mention something else also in just a second. So the rounds I've got suggested, I've got Harrison Ford films, The French New Wave, Bruce Willis, Colin Firth, Julia Roberts, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Spielberg, Akira Kurosawa, the Japanese director, Meryl Streep films, Julie Walters, directors performing cameos, like the Hitchcock cameos. I quite like that idea. Any suggestions? Someone said around based on Stephen King books that have been made into film adaptations from Gail. I like that idea. It's a good one. Anyone else got any suggestion? Bikes in films, good one. Kiefer Sutherland, I'm liking because he's obviously got that musical background as well as a country singer and performer. Yeah, I agree with that. Lockdown may be ending, but new friendships should continue. I was going to make a quick announcement that might upset you all. So basically, we've been doing the Friday quiz for this will be 17 weeks. Western's a good suggestion. Normally, Fridays are kind of a night for me after work where I tend to have a couple of drinks. I tend not to really, I might go and watch a late night film. But the cricket season started again here in the village, and I wouldn't mind a couple of games of cricket because they normally play on a Friday. So I was going to make the weekly quiz now. Somebody suggested a Sunday night, but I've had a couple of people say don't do a Sunday because it's a day people get ready for work. So we'll carry on doing the quizzes on a weekly basis. Instead of doing them on a Friday at 8:30, from next week, I'm going to do it on a Thursday at 8:30. So the quiz next week will be Thursday, not Friday. So the date of the next quiz will be the 23rd. Everybody okay with that? You all right with a Thursday night quiz? It'd be here, same place on the YouTube channel. Instead of the Friday night, it'd be a Thursday night. And it's be the same time, it'd be 8:30 instead of Friday at 8:30. How, everyone all right for that? Couple more suggestions. Leading ladies, I like that. Drinks in films. Yeah, that's quite an interesting one. Have a think about that. So yeah, everybody okay if we do from now on, instead of the Friday, we'll do the Thursday. I'm still not back at work because I'm still furloughed. So I'm still not working. So I'm quite happy to carry on as normal. When I go back to work, if I've still got a job, that is, who knows, with the future of cinemas, we'll take it. We'll maybe do 2 a month or 1 a month, but we still seem to have some keen participants. Yeah, and what I'll say as well, so next week's will be Thursday at 8:30 instead of Friday. We've got a Facebook group and a Twitter page. So yeah, if you want to find the updates on the community cinema, that is our Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, give us a like. I put all the information on the quiz topics, what's going on with the cinemas, recommendations. We're also on Twitter, the dreaded Twitter. That seems to upset everyone. That's our Twitter page. So it's LA Village Cinema, Long Ashton Community Cinema. So yeah, next week the quiz will be same time, be 8:30, but instead of a Friday night, it'd be Thursday night. So it won't be the 24th of July, it'd be the 23rd, and it'd be the 18th edition of the quiz. Good night, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to stay safe, and thanks for taking part. Really enjoyed it. Hope you have. It was a bit trickier tonight, but well done to everyone that took part. Thank you. And I'll see you not Friday, but it'll be Thursday, next Thursday, 23rd of July at 8:30. I'll see you then. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully it'll be sunny weather. And I'll see you next Thursday for the 18th edition of the film quiz. I know we're supposed to use this to start, but I'll see you next week. Over and out, and keep watching great cinema and enjoy the rest of your late evening. Watch a good film and enjoy your glass of wine or your beer, your cider. And I'll see you Thursday at 8:30. Good night.